I woke up lying in my bed, still completely made from the night before. Save for the imprint, I made it on top of the living cupboards. It's freezing, I thought to myself, as I pulled a thick jacket over my stiff and midly sore frame. I walked out of the back door to a fire pit and got the fire roaring pretty fast. With some leftover matches and kindling, and threw some coffee, I went back outside to wash my face and freshen up. After that, I felt much better, so I took a sip of my coffee, put some shoes on, and walked into the thin, wintry forest that has surrounded my house. I was completely doing my daily rounds to check for some snare traps and to make sure no invited guests were wrecking my property, when I caught a strange scent. It smelled like a cross between ozone and burning meat. I wandered around for a long time, but immediately found nothing. So I turned back, my snares having caught nothing, and started to wander home. Several times along the way, I could have sworn I heard the faint sound of hundreds of beetles, carpet prices, scraping and sliding over one another. A very alien round sound that I could best describe my spine tingling. At this point, I had my hand on top of the grip of the 10-inch buck knife I carried everywhere on my hip. Seriously thinking about something was wrong before my investigation into this new matter could get very far. However, thunder cracked in the sky, turned what seemed to be a fresh morning into a roaring downpour, and what could have been a day otherwise, spent hunting and fishing into a dreary, dark-ass night, do-nothing day. I sat in my rocking chair and started the fireplace, and not today, feeling assured that everything was exactly normal. I had my .357 Magnum in my hand and was loosely hanging off the armrest of the chair. My finger was near the trigger, not quite on it, but close. Every so often I'd stand up to check my windows. Visibility was terrible, but the times I looked, I could have sworn I saw what looked like a raggy, tattered black sheet fly past. What I was absolutely sure of was that every light was staying lit in whatever house until the storm blew over, and I could have put a bullet in whatever was causing my troubles. Stirring me out of my thoughts, making me grip on the gun tighter, though there was still 3 loud, forceful knocks on my door. I opened up my door to see my neighbor from about half a kilometer down the dirt road. We had never actually talked besides the first day he moved in. He had told me that his power went out and asked if he could come inside and stay there until the storm blew over. Warning him that I didn't have power to begin with, he shrugged and said that the company would be nice. We sat and ate and drank, and I felt reasonably more secure, having someone there wherever the storm was with. He helped me patch up a leak I found in my room, and seemed to be an okay guy. I told him what was happening, and rather than flat out disbelieving me or expressing shock, he frowned. We got talking, and apparently similar sounds have been occurring at his place, although much more frequently. He seemed a little on edge. Now I thought of it, since he showed up. I was just about to suggest, falsely, that the storm was weakening and perhaps he should go home, when a cold, forceful air of crime came through the crack at my house, blowing out the fire and all the light it provided. Running quickly over, I tried to light it, but it wouldn't catch. I ran down the house looking for candles without any luck. And then I stopped moving for a second and came into a realization. It was dead silent. No storm, no panicked breathing from my neighbor, just my own heartbeat. Pulling out the pistol I had stored in my belt then, I did a quick sweep of every room of my house. The neighbor was nowhere to be found. Hearing a faint scraping, however, I walked slowly towards the closet, said finger on the trigger the whole time, and pulled it open as fast as I could. My neighbor had his throat slit clean open by something, or someone. My heart raced as I heard the sound again of scraping, clicking beetle shells, sliding over each other. Beetle shells? I looked down at this face again. There was only no face. There were two white holes where his eyes had been, with beetle larvae inside. Hundreds of beetles were trying to force their way out of this horribly disfigured mouth, all about the size of a bottle cap. It had appeared that they had been taking a residence inside of him for months. I noticed strange lumps running up and down his exposed skin, and knew what it had to be. I went to grab him and dragged him into a better light so I could get a better look, when a giant pincer came out of its mouth and stabbed me in the hand. The barbed pincer had nowhere to go but deeper, and I knew I couldn't get it out by pulling it. So the only sensible thing, I dropped my gun, I pulled out my knife and cut it off, pulling it out from the other side of my hand, dropping the gun to provide me to grave mistake through. As what happened next was a flurry of movement, and what extremely confusing to an average onlooker. A giant monstrosity, resembled of a love child of a scorpion and a scarab beetle, burst forth from his chest, his bones apparently having to be liquefied. I stood in shock as it pushed forth into the world. Thinking fast, I went for my gun, but all it had as one of its black shiny claws wrapped around my arm and crushing it before I could get there. I responded by chopping away with not much success as its monstrous crab-like arm. Realizing that if I hadn't gotten my out sooner, my bones would have been pulverized. I flipped over the knife and around the backwards to the grip and stabbed the freak show bastard into its compound eye, causing it to audibly screech, the horrible sound that sounded like a combination out of a tuned violin and nails on a chalkboard. But it let go, though that gave me the reptite I need to grab my shotgun off of my mantel place, loaded it, and blow it to the abomination's head section, clean off the rest of it. Satisfied as it was dead, I quickly picked it up and brought it out to my shed. Opening the door, I looked inside, disgusted. Dozens of fresh bodies with slit throats and shotgun blasts were there. Torsos, eyes missing. How did this damn bug use a shotgun? Oh well. I heaved at the corpses of the bug and threw it in the shed, went inside and sat down on my nicely made bed. I've had a long day, I thought. After taking off my jacket, realizing how tired it was, I didn't even bother to get comfy. Just laid there and allowed myself to fall asleep on top of the blankets. And that, my little pretties, was The Woods of Canada, a creepypasta. My final thoughts on this story? I know that this one has to relate to Canada, which is a pretty good creepypasta. Now, it's not like it does have some creepy aspects of the story, but for some reason this story didn't really have, too much, going on for it. Now, that's just me stating my opinion of this story, but I didn't really think this story was that bad. I mean, I wish there would have been maybe a little bit more added to the story, because then that way the story would have been more interesting. But yet again, I mean, this is just a story. Like, to be completely honest, I mean, I have not really heard of this story until I watched a narration of this story about last month or something. Yeah, it was last month. Last month or so ago, I actually found this story on, the Creepypasta Wiki. and and also someone has narrated the story, which this person goes by, well, KJ Peanuts, who narrated this back in 2015. So I have to say it was a really good story. I really do find it to be, pretty amazing for what it is, especially with the good aspect of this story. Although it's probably not that really scary in my opinion, but that's just me stating my own thoughts. I do like the fact that this has a really good um concept and all that, as well as the good grammar, the storyline, the sentence structuring, and all that. I do wish there was a little bit more added to the story, because then that way the story would be more, to put it bluntly, it definitely would make more sense if there was more added to the story. And the only issue I would have to say is there is not really too much added to the story. But I mean, there was some, you know, creepiness in this story, but I just wish that there was like more added to it, because in that way that would help out a lot more with the story. That's just what I think personally, but that's just me. Yet again, that's just my personal opinion. Like I'm gonna say right now, I don't know who the original author of this story is, so I'm gonna leave it as anonymous for now. If I ever find out who the original author of the story is, I'll be sure to give the author of the story proper credit. So as of now, I'm just gonna leave it as anonymous until I could find out who the original author of this story is, as I am not sure who the original author is now. So until then, this story is just gonna be written by anonymous until I can find out who wrote the story. Like, I mean, the author could somehow find out who's the author might know that I narrate the story and then make comments and say, hey, I'm the one who wrote the story. If that's the truth, I'll definitely, be sure to give the author proper credit then. So, yeah, I just thought I'd let you just put a little disclaimer, but, Anyways, with that being said, like I'm gonna say, this is just simply my own personal opinion, and if you happen to disagree with me, that's fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions in regards to these creepypastas, and this is just simply my own personal thoughts. My final read of the story is I'm gonna give this one a 10 out of 10. It's a pretty interesting story, but I do wish that there was a little more added to the story that would help out, but that's just my opinion, but I mean, you're free to make your own opinions and thoughts on this story. So, like I'm going to say right now, that's just simply my own opinion. If you happen to disagree with me, that's fine too. Like I said before. What did you guys think about this story? Did you all enjoy it? Did you all not? Also, what you have done personally to help make this story a lot better? Feel free to leave me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. I'm the Queen of Lions. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. And if you're brand new here to this channel, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, because I make brand new videos every single day. Don't forget to ring the notification bell to when I upload, so that way you guys will not miss an upload. And as always, please roll the outro, because I'm out.